Okay, today got some more parts in for this thing. Gonna go over, there's my build list right now. I do it in like sections. I'll write off a bunch of things and just every time I got spare money, I'll buy more parts, and then I'll wait till I got a pile, and then I'll come out and start putting stuff on, fabbing stuff up, whatever I need. Right now I got doing the fuel pump and brushless fan. I already got the brushless fan on there. Can't really see down in there, but I'll go on that a little more. 16-inch brushless proform fan, 3300 CFM. I got the curved blade one. It's got the soft start technology in it. I don't know how you go wrong with this thing. This is a bad motherfucking fan right here. Compared to the SPAL ones, the SPAL ones only put out about 2,000 to 2,500 CFM at the most. This one is minimum 3,300. And that's at 13.5 volts. So if you get at 14, it might even put out another couple hundred CFM at the most. Doing my fuel pump also in the 745i. I got the 810 liter per hour Deatschwerks brushless fuel pump with controller. Here's what the factory BMW pump looked like. Kind of looks like a Hellcat pump. There's a Hellcat pump right there. I don't know if this one's a Hellcat or a 450. This is out of a 300ZX I did an LS swap on. But this came with, basically everything you would need. I ended up using this smaller filter sock. Came with this one also. Came with a bunch of feed fittings and the submersible line. It's a tube. I had to get a longer one. Mine's a big old long one. So I ended up getting one from Radium for like almost 30 bucks for this thing. This white one right there. This is the factory fuel feed. The way I have my car set up, I have -8 feed and -6 return. So I took the factory hard lines that was in the car and turned them into the fuel return. So just cut this thing off. This is just going to dump back into the tank and return my fuel so I can bypass my fuel pressure. I did buy this fitting right here to go on top of my bulkhead, which this is the vent, that's the return, there's the plug for the fuel pump. There was the original plug for the fuel pump, but now that's still the plug for the fuel level sensor, so I'm still going to use it. I just cut the feed and power off of it, and I'm actually going to have an external relay for this pump. I'm going to order one from Deatschwerks itself just in case they try to say that I didn't get a right one or something like that. If there's ever an issue with this, I'd rather get one from them. But I ended up getting this fitting right here from Speedflow. This one stuck up too high and it was like hitting the seat, and I didn't want to like cut a chunk out of the seat, so this one sits about, I don't know, almost a ½ inch shorter than this one. So, and it's opened up inside there and it doesn't snake down. I did use a lot of these Summit Racing fittings. They're good quality stuff, but I needed a tight radius 90, so I ended up getting this from Speedflow, Australia. This thing feels really nice quality. It really feels like the quality of Earl's, in my opinion. But I'm gonna go put this thing in, and then I need to wire this up. I'll probably have my second stage of the fuel pump. You wire it up one way, and it basically can give you half power all the time, it's saying. And then it says if you ground this white wire, it gives you full power. So a lot of people either run it to a toggle switch, or in maybe the Holly Terminator, they have it run it to one of the input outputs. I might do that. I haven't decided yet on what I'm going to do, but I might have it as a toggle switch at first, and I only have the pump if I'm cruising around on half power, and if I'm planning on having fun with the car, flip the switch and give her all the pressure out of this bad Badass fuel pump right here. 810 liters per hour in that small of a package. It's crazy. Didn't really have to buy anything extra. Got the bulkhead from Vibrant. So just basically Deatschwerks and Radium and Vibrant and Speedflow fittings. And then I got a big old roll of hose for the car. Also, I think it's Vibrant, like this black nylon stuff right here. I already done made this fuel line, which runs from here to right there, and then made the crossover for there, and then I just have a 45, which is going to be the feed from the pump in, and then I still have my what is it, fuel filter. I got the biggest one Deatschwerks had, big ass, I think it says 170 or something on it. It's a big one. Got that. I'll put that all on there, run the feed, and put the fittings together. I have more fittings inside. I want to talk about this fuel, or not the fuel pump, but the fan. This is, I've seen a couple like videos, just even sound wise, like when you turn one of these on, that's this size, that's a brush motor compared to this brushless one. It sounds like this thing is, I don't know, it sounds like this thing is way spinning faster. So I felt like $165 off of Summit, it was worth trying. So get down here and see the old girl. I got her mounted right there. The radiator I have in this is a Be Cool. I think it's almost a 3-inch core. I can't remember, but it's like the biggest, best one they make for the 9802 SS Camaros and Firebirds, or whatever car that year came with LS1 in it, F bodies. So Be Cool. I looked it up last time. They were like $700, and not many people had them in stock. So she's a big old girl. I got her off Marketplace for $150. So $150 for the radiator and $165 for the fan. The upper radiator hose is a factory F-body Camaro radiator hose. And then the bottom is part of a lower off of an F-body, and then a ICT billet adapter, and then an elbow, just an elbow hose from Gates, from O'Reilly's. And then boom, that's the cooling system. And then F-body water pump, 180 degree thermostat. The radiator, or not the radiator, but the intercooler is a Treadstone TR 1245, 4.5 inch thick. It's basically what you would call Supra dimensions. It said it was for a Supra, 1,000 horsepower. It says it's efficient still at 1,000 horsepower. So 1,000 horsepower is not the limit. You could push it farther past that, but that's the limit. It starts becoming inefficient, I guess. Most intercoolers that they sell put what the max they can do. This is a little different. That core is a lot nicer quality. It's like the same thing as what Garrett would be and other stuff. So I got that thing for, I think it was $500 even with shipping, maybe a little less. Treadstone. And it has these nice things in the end tanks that divert the flow to the top and the bottom part of the core. It splits as soon as it goes in the end tank. It has a like a splitter thing in there. It's pretty cool. And they did some testing, and that definitely actually makes a difference, which that kind of sold me on it. And it was a pretty decent price. It was the exact dimensions I needed and dimensions I had to get this thing to fit in there. So made some custom brackets. It holds the radiator and the intercooler each side. I'll probably put like a little piece of rubber or something, stick them so they don't rattle together. Got the wastegates down here. Don't come for me for my welds. I welded everything together with the Harbor Freight little titanium flux core welder. I ain't looking for pretty. Here's the gas tank. That thing actually snaps down into there and locks into the bottom of the tank. There's the plug for the fuel level sensor. I almost think I'm looking at that piece right here, and I think there might be another pump on the other side, since this is, I think, what is called like a saddlebag tank. So it pumps fuel from the other side of the tank to the other, and kind of vice versa or something. But I don't know, I'm gonna have to look. I haven't even looked at the other side. I just got the bunch of junk in here from BTR intake manifold box and my Snap-on scanner and stuff. The car is super dirty. I did not even notice this until I got the car back from towing it from like an hour and a half from my house. This is held on with literally just that little thick paper clip. What the hell? Anybody need a Mazda speed bumper? Hit me up. 150 bucks. My poor transmission just sitting over here looking all pretty, waiting to go in. I need to jack the car up real high, and then I'll start test fitting the tranny, see where I gotta cut the center console. I don't know where the hell I'm gonna do that big old center console in there, and all those controls for the heated and cooled seats and heated and cooled cup holders and shit. I'm debating having the shifter stick up real high and I just like cut a small hole for it or something. Get a short shifter so there's not much of a throw on the shifter, and just cut a small hole and have it just kind of sticking up out of the center, or I'm gonna have to make a whole custom center console and try to find a way for those buttons to be back on there. And yeah, but this is a little short kind of I also hooked this thing up to battery power, just a stagnant battery. It was at 12.2 volts. That fan rips ass. It almost rips out of your hand once it really, because it's got soft start. It starts out slow and ramps up, but when it ramps up, that thing is spinning. Good Lord. But I can't really give you a little more of a review install on these. This is pretty straightforward. It's a fan. You put the little clip things on, stick them through the radiator, or screw it to your fan shroud. I'm not bougie. I didn't get a fan shroud. I'm kind of on minimal space. I'm getting pretty close to the wastegates down there and the radiator hose. So I just said, fuck a fan shroud. Run it like it is. And I hadn't seen many people with the install of any of these fuel pumps or anything like that. I like this pump. It's got like this little mount where it's kind of got like little rubber isolators in there. BMW was doing shit up in 2003. This is an old car. This car is older than most people that will see this video. It's ridiculous. But trying to keep pump more videos out for this BMW 7 Series swap shit. Ain't nobody else doing this. Y'all need to quit messing with them little junk ass 3 Series and 5 Series cars. They ain't got the metal structure to hold the rear end. If you do, you're going to spend 10 grand on a rear end and all the bracing for it to hold the rear end in there. This car ain't going to have that problem. They already make versions of this car. It's got almost 600 horsepower that you can order from the Alpina dealer. And it's the same car that this motor came with. They just put a freaking centrifugal supercharger on it. And they made like 550 to the wheels, supposed to be like 600 crank horsepower. Those rear ends never had a problem. They didn't even change anything on those. So they did slight suspension and brake upgrades. The rear end, I think, is the same. And it's not an LSD as far as I remember. The Alpino cars, the B7s. So I'm going to get me a E60 M5 rear end. That's out of a car with a V10 stick shift car too. So 362 LSD, and it should bolt right into this. No modifications. Axle shafts and everything fit. I've already measured everything. I was gonna buy one, and the guy ended up selling it to someone else for more. So I gotta end up finding me another one, but they are not that hard to find. Got my rusty ass brakes. My wheels are kind of pitted up. I'm gonna get some fresh brakes on this. These are only some wheels until I find me some light I want something nice and light. These are really heavy wheels, and they're not in the greatest shape. I might keep them for spares. But just an update on this thing. Here soon with a couple more hoses, I'll be able to start this. I need a relay for my fuel pump. I need some vacuum lines and some vacuum tees and fittings and stuff, and finish running the fuel line, and I can start this as soon as I just plug in the Holley terminator. And everybody knows that ain't hard to do.